God's love is a vast and gentle ocean. It stretches farther than our eyes can see. It is deeper than our minds can fathom. Imagine, if you will, a father watching his child take their first steps. His heart swells with a love so pure, so complete. And honestly, this is just a tiny glimpse of how God feels about you. He is not a distant king on a cold throne. He is a loving father who knows your name. He has counted every hair on your head. His love for his children is not based on what we do, but on who he is. It is a steady, unshakable love that was planned before the world even began, a promise whispered into the dawn of time. This promise began in a garden, a perfect place. Adam and Eve walked with God, but then a shadow fell. A serpent, cunning and deceitful, introduced sin into the world. The perfect connection was broken. Yet, even in that moment of heartbreak, God did not abandon his children. He made a promise. He spoke to the serpent, but his words were a beacon of hope for all humanity. He said that a descendant, the seed of the woman, would one day come. This promised one would have a great battle. He would crush the serpent's head, defeating evil forever. It was a promise of rescue, a promise of a hero to come. Think about that for a moment. Right from the very beginning, God had a rescue plan. He did not leave us alone in our struggle. He saw the brokenness, the pain, and the separation that sin would cause, and his immediate response was not anger but a promise of redemption. He set in motion a story of love that would unfold over thousands of years. This was not a hastily made plan. It was a deliberate, heartfelt vow from the Creator to his creation. He promised a champion would come, one who would fight on our behalf and restore the relationship that had been lost in the garden. He knew the cost, but his love was greater. This promise was passed down through generations. It was a flickering candle in a dark world, a source of hope for those who trusted in God. Prophets spoke of it, kings sang about it. Ordinary people held on to this hope with all their might. They waited for the seed of the woman, the one who would finally make things right. They looked to the horizon, waiting for the dawn of a new day. This ancient promise was not just a fairy tale. It was the foundation of God's entire plan to show the world the incredible, unstoppable, and personal depth of his amazing love for each and every one of us. Centuries passed. Then, under a starry sky in a humble town called Bethlehem, the promise took on flesh and blood. A baby was born. His name was Jesus. He was not born in a palace to a powerful queen. He was born in a simple stable to a young woman named Mary. He was the seed of the woman as promised. He grew up not as a prince but as the son of a carpenter. He played, he learned, he worked with his hands. He felt the warmth of the sun and the chill of the rain. He was fully human, experiencing life just as we do, with all its joys and its sorrows. Yet, there was something profoundly different about this man, Jesus. While he was fully human, he was also fully divine. He carried the heart of God within his human chest. This meant he lived a life of perfect purity. Think about your own thoughts, your own actions. We all have moments we regret. A harsh word spoken in anger, a selfish thought we wish we could take back. We all stumble. But Jesus never did, not once. He never had a single sinful thought. He never spoke a single dishonest word. He never committed a single selfish act. He was perfect, a spotless lamb. Imagine the challenge of that. To live among imperfect people, to face temptation, to feel frustration, and yet to never once give in to sin. The serpent, that same source of evil from the garden, tried to tempt him in the wilderness. He offered him power, glory, and comfort, but Jesus stood firm. He chose obedience to his Father over everything else. His entire life was an act of perfect love and perfect worship. He showed us what it looks like to live in complete harmony with God. He was the living, breathing example of the life we were all created to live, but could not achieve on our own. His perfection was not for his own sake, it was for ours. To be the perfect sacrifice, he had to be without blemish. In the old days, when people made sacrifices to God, they had to choose the very best animal from their flock, one without any spots or defects. Jesus was that perfect offering. His sinless life qualified him to be the one who could stand in our place. He was the only one who could bridge the gap between a holy God and sinful humanity. His perfect life was the necessary first step in the ultimate act of love that was still to come. He was the perfect man, preparing to become the perfect Savior. The journey of Jesus the man led to a hill outside Jerusalem, a place called Golgotha, the place of the skull. Here, the story takes a dramatic turn. The perfect man, the one who never sinned, was about to do something extraordinary. It is on this hill that we see the profound difference between Jesus the man and Jesus the Christ. Christ is not his last name, it is his title. It means the Anointed One, the Messiah, the rescuer that was promised so long ago. On that cross, Jesus was not just a good man being punished unfairly. He was fulfilling his divine purpose. He was being the Christ. On that cross, Jesus the Christ took upon himself the weight of every wrong thing ever done, every lie ever told, every tear ever shed because of sin, every broken heart, every selfish act, all the darkness of humanity from the first sin in the garden to the last sin that will ever be committed was placed upon his shoulders. The one who knew no sin became sin for us. Imagine a pure white canvas suddenly being splattered with all the mud and grime of the world. That is what happened to Jesus on that day. He willingly took our filth upon himself so that we could be washed clean. This was the ultimate battle. The serpent from the garden struck the heel of the woman's seed, just as God had said. The pain was real, the suffering was immense. Jesus felt the full force of God's wrath against sin. For the first and only time, he experienced separation from his Father. He cried out, my God, why have you forsaken me?" This was the terrible price of our redemption. It was the cost of God's perfect justice and his perfect love meeting at a single point in history. The man Jesus suffered, but the Christ was achieving a cosmic victory over evil. And in that moment of ultimate sacrifice, something amazing happened. As Jesus breathed his last, he crushed the serpent's head. He broke the power of sin and death forever. The cross was not a symbol of defeat. It was a throne of victory. It was the place where love won. Jesus the man died, but Jesus the Christ conquered. He paid the debt we could never pay. He satisfied the justice of God and opened the way for us to come back to the Father. The sacrifice on Golgotha was not the end of the story. It was the beginning of a new one for all who would believe. So what does this mean for us today in 2025? It means everything. Because of what Jesus the Christ did on that cross, our relationship with God can be restored. When we put our trust in him, God no longer sees our sin. He sees the perfection of his Son. It's like we are standing behind Jesus, and when God looks at us, he sees Jesus' perfect life, not our imperfect one. This is the gift of grace. It is forgiveness that we do not deserve and cannot earn. It is the peace of knowing that we are fully and completely loved, not because we are good, but because he is good. This truth brings us incredible hope. We all carry burdens. We carry the weight of our past mistakes, our fears about the future, and our struggles in the present. But the cross tells us we don't have to carry them alone. Jesus the Christ carried it all for us. We can lay our guilt and shame at the foot of the cross and walk away free. We can face each day not with fear but with the confidence of a child who knows they are deeply loved by their Father. This is not just a hope for the afterlife, it is a hope that transforms our lives right now, giving us strength, joy, and purpose. Understanding the difference between Jesus the man and Jesus the Christ is vital. Jesus the man showed us how to live. Jesus the Christ made it possible for us to be forgiven. His perfect life showed us the standard, and his sacrificial death met that standard on our behalf. This is the heart of the Christian faith. It is not about trying harder to be a good person to earn God's favor. It is about accepting the incredible gift of love that has already been given. It is about trusting that what Christ did on the cross was enough. It is enough for your past, your present, and your future. So, no matter where you are or what you have done, there is hope for you. God's love, demonstrated through his Son, is powerful enough to cover any sin. It is strong enough to heal any wound. It is big enough to welcome you home. The promise made in the garden was fulfilled on a hill called Golgotha, and it is offered to you today. All you have to do is receive it. Trust in the love of the Father, the perfect life of Jesus the man, and the victorious sacrifice of Jesus the Christ. This is the good news. This is a love that changes absolutely everything.